you just a tiny bit of information and then we go into the conversation itself. Like right now, I'm in my masculine energy because I'm leaning forward. Feminine energy is you lean backwards. You receive. You don't lean forward. You're not the one that takes care of everything and action in your relationships, whether it's the relationships with your husband, with your boyfriend, with your kids, or even with your family, right? At work, it's probably recommended to try to have both energies because sometimes you do need masculine energy, especially in a place of work, if we're being honest and if we're being practical to be able to do what we need to do. But thank you, Mohammed. I see your comment from the message, Sister Show message. Thank you, in case you're watching here. So at work, you can, but as women, that's where it should end. And even at work, we have to try to find the balance when we are working to not use too much masculine energy because it's a turn off, right? Have you ever worked with someone and like they get on your last nerves, like I do with my sisters? I get on their nerves. But it's family. I have to do what I have to do with them to get by, right? But at work you can, but you also have to try to balance it out with some feminine energy, softer, especially when you're a woman, right? Because if not, that's why you get stereotyped, which is wrong. We shouldn't get stereotyped sometimes when they call you the B word because whatever, and they don't call that to guys, which is horrible. Society, that's horrible part of society. But unfortunately, that's the reality that we live in, right? So it stops there at your work. So as women, when you get off work, right now I'm in my masculine energy, so you guys can understand what I'm talking about in case you're new here. Masculine energy is more tough, okay? It speaks from the brain. It's not from the heart and from your feelings, right? Feminine energy is how you feel. You express yourself. You don't, just because we say feminine energy, you're softer, you're not masculine, you're not like action doing. Just because we're not saying that doesn't mean that you suppress your voices. And let me give you guys one key reason why this is important. If you have masculine energy, normally what happens? Do you say how you feel? No, you suppress your feelings. So ultimately, when you're in a relationship and you show up in your masculine energy, you think you're doing yourself a favor because you're being tough, but actually, you're actually hurting yourself in the long run. Because if you express how you feel to your spouse, to your husband, to your partner, right? It's healthy to express how you feel. How you express it matters. That is things that we talk about in the feminine energy, and I'll get to that. But the reason why we say expressing how you feel to your spouse, to your partner, your husband, in feminine energy is really, as a person, is really important. Because if you don't do it, what happens? The person that doesn't talk much, that suppresses everything they feel here, the day they explode, you will see the worst side of them. Is this true or not true? Are you guys with me? Or am I talking to myself? Are you guys with me? Mary, is it making sense? I just want to touch it a little bit so that people that are new here can understand feminine energy, masculine energy, and then we'll talk about the real things that we want to talk about today with feminine energy. Because remember, we talked about communication, how you communicate using your feminine energy to get through to your partner, to communicate correctly with your family, with your kids, right? We've talked about that. We talked about a lot of other stuff. But today, the thing that I want to talk about, focusing your energy on yourself, that's what I want to talk about. And also stop doing for the guys. Stop making excuses for men and doing for them. That is not feminine energy. So I want us to really, really talk about that, because we are so used to do it. And masculine energy, a lot of women that have masculine energy, like I said before, are boss women. When I say boss women, are women that are like shakers and movers of this society, whatever it is, whether it's with the family, taking actions and being proactive with their family, or at their jobs, right? Normally, if they're really aggressive at work, or they're getting things done, they own their own business, they own their own companies, they're leaders in their companies, in the companies that they work, or they have really stressful jobs. These are all women that are important in society. Unfortunately, a lot of these women carry masculine energy. And that's why sometimes a lot of women that are like leaders in shape, you know, that are doing things in this society, they find it hard to stay in relationships, or if they stay in relationships, usually it could also be an unhappy relationship because they're not showing up as the feminine divine energy that God created, but they're showing up in those relationships as actually almost like a guy. That is the problem. If we show up as women, as men, why did God create us as women? If we don't believe that we are enough, like I said before, right, with how God created us, our soft hearts, our demeanor, our, you know, curves, our nurturingness, right, how we are so nurturing to people. God created that for a reason. If we don't trust that and we think it's not enough and we need to try to be like men, something is wrong with us. We have to check that as women, you know. And earlier I was saying the reason why it's horrible to also try to be like a man, because usually as a woman, if you are almost like a man, if you have masculine energies, right, like right now I'm in my masculine energy, the way I'm talking, I sound exhausting to you guys, I'm sure, because I'm telling you guys that's masculine energy. That's exhausting for your partner. It is exhausting, right? So the reason why we say that it's not good to have your masculine energy when you're in relationships, this is the simple reason. One is you suppress how you feel, because as a child they tell you to not say how you feel. When you cry, they beat you, especially Africans. Everyone here most likely is Africans. In Africa, as a child, if you're a girl, even a boy, when you try to cry, when something happens, when you try to cry, they beat you. They tell you stop crying. If you say something hurts, they tell you suck it up, wipe your tears, stop crying. So your psyche is being nurtured as a child. You embedding these things in your mind that you are supposed to hold your feelings down. You're not supposed to express yourself. So therefore, when you come up, when you get older and you show up in relationships with your partner, what happens? Your husband could be doing something to you that is horrible every day. Let's say your husband speaks to you in a wrong way, or your husband, you know, always, whatever example that you could come up with. Maybe you guys could give me examples that what your spouse or your husband could do sometimes that is annoying or that hurts you, right? So, and you don't say anything. I'm speaking Wolof in case you're listening, but I'll go back to English. Normally what they say is muñ. This is one part that feminine energy is different from the old. Remember how I used to say feminine energy is almost like what our great-great-grandparents used to do? Our great-great-grandparents, this one part that they didn't get right is don't suppress how you feel. Basically, muñal, be quiet. Like, don't bring up everything, right? In feminine energy, you are actually required to say how you feel. How you say it matters, right? That's what's going to make the difference. But if your husband is, let's say if your husband is taking the trash out, but every time he takes it out, right, there's a lot of mess by the trash bin, right? He doesn't clean it. Usually as African women, we have two kinds, right? The one that will yap until the husband wants to run away. And everything is a big mess, it's the chaos. The way that she approaches the husband would be crazy, like, blah, 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 meaning like, you could translate in your own language, right? If you're listening, if you're watching, right? So you react, there are two women in Africa usually. The one that will say that everything the husband does that's wrong, she open her mouth and go yap until the husband doesn't have air to breathe and just want to walk away or want to take a break. Or you have the woman that suppresses everything and never complains. But inside they're dying. Inside they're boiling. Right? Or if you have a boyfriend, you guys supposed to go out or he's supposed to call you or whatever, he doesn't do it. You suppress it. You don't say how you feel. That's not feminine energy. That's not good. Because feminine energy, that's boy energy, because you're thinking you have to be tough, so you have to take it. Boy energy, masculine energy. You have to be tough, you have to take it, so you're not going to say anything because you don't want any drama. That is not feminine energy, that's masculine energy. Because what happens is you suppress all those feelings, and one day your husband does something that has nothing to do with the trash, that has nothing to do with anything else, you explode. Right? That could bring the whole house down that night, the day you explode, right? Because you have other issues. Let's say if your husband is staying out late all the time, that bothers you, you don't express it. The day you explode, divorce is coming. Because it's going to get to a level where he's going to be like, what the hell? She hasn't said anything. She hasn't been communicating. She didn't say this makes her upset, but now she's going to go crazy. Or you do like the other woman, like everything that comes up, you use your masculine energy to fight it. Everything that your husband does that is not good, that you don't like, taking the trash out, making a mess in the house, you make it a fuss and you use your masculine energy and you get into a big argument with your husband. What's the balance and what's the answer? That's what we're going to talk about. That's one. I'll give you guys that. But the other one that we really want to talk about, oh, by the way, before we talk about something else, or before I continue here, if you're watching right now and you watch our sister, the show, I think it was a good show. I enjoyed watching it. Actually, it was really lovely. We always have fun when we're filming it. Please share the video. Go to your walls. You could go now or wait until this show is done. But share those videos on your walls so that we'll spread the love and spread the message to a lot of people that don't know about the show yet, right? Because it's new. This is like, now we're in the 6th week. 1 month and 2 weeks. This is the 2nd week. 1 month and 2nd week, right? So you can share it. All right. So expressing yourself. So how do you express yourself? That's part of communication we talked about. So I'm not going to bore you guys with that. We're going to go into the next segment, the next topic. But the way you communicate is this. You find, this is the key to communication, right? And you could do it how you want and what works for you. Thank you, Blessings, that you like this show. Yeah, share it on your wall when you're done. I have shared already. Oh, perfect. Thank you, Mary. Thank you for sharing it. I appreciate it. Yeah, thank you guys so much for helping us out with this. It really means a lot. So one way to communicate how you feel with your spouse and express how you feel, because you are not a doormat, right? When you're feminine energy, you're actually very powerful. But a lot of people think feminine energy, you just become like a doormat and people walk all over you, and then you say, oh, I'm not going to subdue, I'm not going to give in to my husband, you know, we're the same, we're equals. What do you mean feminine energy? What do you mean I should be like this or like that? Hey, whatever rock your boat. If you think that the way you in your relationship, you showing up, everything is perfect, everything is great, kudos to you. But what we are saying is, even if your relationship is good, you could make it even greater by introducing feminine energy into your life and with your relationship and your spouse, and even your family and your family and friends, right? So, and this you could even say to your family and your friends. It's not just a guy. And it works in terms of communication. So what you do is you tell them, mention what you see good in them first, right? You really appreciate, honey, I really appreciate that you taking the trash out. But it will feel a lot better when you take it if you could just please clean the sides, because the trash gets everywhere. What do you think about that? And you listen. But if you take your man energy, honey, what? Look at the trash. You yang tirimal fi yep ngi salte. Why, lady, hale ñu isalen. You're turning off your husband right away. Even if he was gonna help, or even if he was gonna try to do it better, he might do it better the next time just to please you, but inside he feels icky with you. When I say icky, meaning he's disgusted. He's just not saying it. You guys kill me, but I'm just going to keep things real. If you've ever done something to your husband and you see the look on his eye, or your spouse, and the way he look at you is like, and he shake his head, he doesn't say anything, that is a sign that he is disgusted. And and men usually don't express themselves because we were told as young kids to suppress our feelings, right? So the fact that your husband look at you this way, side eye, and then his facial expression, he's disgusted, he hasn't said anything, inside he's boiling. Inside his mind is already working. He's thinking about things. Guys that are here, and I'm going to open the line. Anyone that's here that wants to join, please feel free to join. Men that are watching, tell me if this is true or not. When a woman is aggressive with you, when a woman comes to you, I just gave you guys a perfect example of a trash scenario. Instead of saying, honey, right, you say what you appreciate. Excuse me, the key is you say what you appreciate first. This even goes to kids or your friends and family. Always say what you appreciate first. Acknowledge what he's done right first. Is so important. Instead of just attacking the person, well, you should have done this the way you did, when you take the trash out, this is a mess, you've leaked all the water here, can you go da-da? That's horrible. I'm not saying I'm perfect. I'm not saying we should be perfect and we shouldn't do those things, but we have to be conscious. What you don't want people to do to you, don't do to people. So if you switch the roles and your husband talks to you like this and you feel this small, and that's something you can say in masculine, I'm going to bring that up as an example. Remind me, this small, remind me of that word. Okay, so going back to the trash situation. So instead of looking at him and saying that, you say, honey, I really appreciate it when you take the time to take the trash out. It's really helpful. It makes my life so much easier. This is the truth. You're expressing how you feel. You're not being fake. Don't suppress how you feel. Say it. Don't think it and think the other person is going to know it, because no, don't. Say it. Let them hear it. When you appreciate someone, when your spouse does something for you, say it. Because when you want him to do something for you, you say it. When he takes the trash out and it's a whole mess over there, you say it usually, as African women. Not a lot of African women stay quiet. We're very vocal. So if you're going to say all of these things, always start with the good. Communicate with your spouse what he's done right. You really appreciate him, right, for him taking the time and taking the trash out. It would feel very helpful, right? It would feel great. Feel. That's the key. How you feel. You have to use those. Dina maneer. Maybe in my language you cannot say feel, but can somebody tell me how you would say feel in Wolof? It would feel. Can someone tell me how you would say feel in Wolof, please? Mariama, do you know how to say feel in Wolof or Mandinka? So you express yourself. That's what the goddess does. That's what the queen does. That's what the princess do. You say how you feel. You don't shut it down. That's suppressing all your feelings, how you feel. That's the man. Being aggressive with how you feel and saying it, that's also a guy. Oh, thank you. That's warming. That really warms my heart, right? So you say thank you, Mariama, for that. That really warms my heart. What I just did, that's feminine energy. I receive it and I say how I feel. And what you did is feminine energy. So if you're speaking to your spouse, everyone is quiet, so I'm going to keep talking. If you're speaking to your spouse, if he does something that you don't like, say what you appreciate about him first. Say what you like about that particular situation, right? And then you say it would feel a lot better though if you could help with this. Men are not stupid. He's going to get it. And a guy that's in love with you or married to you, that is with you, wants nothing but to make you happy and proud. Let me tell you something, ladies. Most men, if they're with you and they love you and you're theirs, before the relationship is damaged. I'm not talking about when it's damaged. I'm saying before it's damaged. everything sa bànneex la ñuy daw. In Wolof, everything is about the woman. Initially, when you guys first start dating, when you guys first get married, everything that the man does is for your appreciation and is for you to acknowledge it and is for you to praise him. This is a fact. Everything a guy does when they're in a relationship in the beginning stages is to please the woman. What happens? At some point that is turned off. That switch in the brain to just please you is switched off. Dañ ko tëj. Xangal tax ñu tëj ko. You know why? They're tired. They've done stuff for you for so long and you don't seem to appreciate anything. So right now they're just coexisting with you and surviving. Dawatuñ sa bànneex. Most men, after they are married to you for a long time, dawatuñ sa bànneex, meaning they're not running around to please you. They're tired with that. They're done with that. You know why? Because they did it in the beginning and you didn't use your feminine energy to continue that spice. It died for them. They're not even trying. They just do it so they don't hear your mouth. So many aim say they just do it, so they just do things to get it done. They're not doing things to please you. Why? In the beginning stages of your relationship, when you start, this is the truth, Mariama, they're just doing it to shut us up. But initially, they stand. When we put ourselves in their position, we'll understand them. Initially, in the beginning stages, tell me, Mariama, when you first, are you married, Mariama, or are you like dating? Who here is married or dating? Tell me, so I'm not just sitting here talking alone. Tell me, let's make it a conversation. Let's make it a dialogue. So that I could also be in my feminine energy at some point. So I'm not always in my masculine energy because it's exhausting to me. I hate being in my masculine energy. I get tired. Like when we film with my sisters, when we're done, I'm like, oof, let me go back to my feminine energy. So just comment for me. Tell me if you're married or you're single. So if you're married, if it's been 2 years, maybe your husband is still trying to please you with everything that he does. Most likely, if he's African, maybe the first year, if we've been honest. Oh, thank you, Mariama. Right? I hope your husband's name is last name is Cisse. That would be funny. But Kamara and Cisse in the same household, I don't know how that's gonna work out. Right? So initially when you guys first get married, right? Hello, Sukai. I'm glad that you tuned in. Share this video on your page, Sukai. Share this video as well on your pages as well as the sister show live show that we just finished streaming. If you can share those shows, that would be great. Yeah, so going back to the conversation, normally most likely your husband or your boyfriend in the beginning stages of the relationship, that's when they were doing everything pour daw sa bànneex. You know when they say in Wolof ñu ngi daw seen bànneex, góor yi dañuy daw pour suñ bànneex ñun jigéen ñi. Yeah, they did that. They do that in the beginning of your relationship. If you realize they run, they open the door for you, they hold the door, they pull the chair for you to sit down, right? You go and see them, they're excited, they go and buy drinks, right? They might buy like, if you're in Africa, they might buy like Fanta or Vimto, right? If you're here, they might just give you some orange juice or water, whatever it is, right? So when you first visit them in the beginning stages, let's go back to that, right? And visit why things are not right now, right? So in the beginning stages, the butterfly stages, right? Everything that they were doing, because they saw you as their queen, as their princess, they were doing everything to catch your heart, to do it for you. And most women, they say, oh, men, when they get you, after a while, they change. A lot of men change. You know, they're only nice in the beginning. Until they get you, then they change. That is true. They don't really change. They're not change as a person. Their actions change. The reason why their actions and their behaviors change towards you is because they're not feeling any reward when they do it. Even for you, if you go to work every day, you're not getting paid. At some point, you're not going to go to work. Let's be honest. You're going to stay home and sleep or and do something else. Is that true or no? After a while, whatever you're doing, if you're not getting rewarded, you will stop. And I'm not talking about sex as a reward to the husband. No, it's the feminine divine energy, the softness, the nurturingness, and the reward, that practical reward is to actually compliment when they do for you, and not just wait until something goes wrong and then you talk about that. Or if you really want to say how you feel, which is the topic that we are talking about, expressing how you feel. Just because you're doing feminine energy doesn't mean you're going to be a doormat and accept everything from the guy. No, you have to say how you feel. But the key is how you say it matters, right? How you say it. Is this our sister from our sister Fatu Network? Tell me, because you married. And you newlywed, so your husband is still running for you. Sa husband, sa jëkkër mu ngi daw sa bànneex ba léegi. But the key is, how can we be practical as women to make sure that the guy stays with those behaviors from the beginning and not change? When you practice feminine energy, when you do all these things that we are talking about, the likelihood of your husband changing is very slim. Even if he changes his actions and start to cheat or do other things outside, he's gonna realize what he has, what's good is at the house, and he's gonna come right back. So by doing this feminine energy stuff, you will actually ignite something in him, right? And you will continue to have that fire burning so that they don't change and they don't let those actions go. Now, if you've been married for a long time and your husband, a lot of these things that he's doing now is just to do it just to shut you up, or you've been married for so long and they're just doing it, maybe they're still a good husband, they haven't changed really, but you're making them feel not so good, or after a while most of them change, and even if they haven't changed, they will do it just to do it, but it's not the same way that they did it when they initially were with you, like run to open the door, like run to pull the chair, you know, do, let me do actions, let me take actions, let me see how it's, right? Because at that time you were receiving. You might not have been vocal, but you were receiving it, because oh my God. When you first start dating, the way you talk to the guy when he calls, hello, that's feminine energy. But we don't keep it up. After, let me see, we're Africans, so maybe if it was Americans, I would say after 6 months. Africans, after you start dating or you get married, 3 months, everything changed. The woman, the guy. The woman, our actions change too. That caused the guy's action to also change, right? So if you used to be like, if your husband used to call you, or when you guys were dating, and everything was sweet, hey baby, that's when we do the baby voices, right? Magnifique, nothing deaf. Like, remember we talked about how feminine energy, when you speak like you're dancing. Everything is slow. It's not like, it's like, wow, it's like that. That's real feminine energy. Don't laugh at me. I'm just passing by. I mean, just okay, I'm not gonna say anything. Just passing by. That's good. Tell Anna to join me. Tell Anna I want to see her here, but she's doing something right, because you're still there. But she could spice it up a little bit more, you know, because just because you guys are still married, there are a lot of things that could be turned up a little bit more, a notch, you know, so that everything will just be like, wow, right? So that spice, that you know, that flowy talk, after a while, when your husband, now you married for 1 year, 2 years, when your husband call you, nganalan, awawa yubunako, right? If you speak in another language, I'm sure you'll know by the behaviors, my body language, what I just said, right? So when your husband call you and or say something, and your husband say, honey, can you put that in? Wow, fufu. You know, it's like snappy. Our tongue are like razors. We are snappy as women, right? And I'm not saying I'm perfect. I'm going to keep reminding you guys of this. I have to catch myself sometimes, like, ooh, did I just, okay, let me Let me go the other way, right? Juka, go back to your feminine energy, right? So the way we deliver, the way we say it is really important when you're in a relationship, right? So what I'm saying is nurturing, having that warm energy, having those warm communication skills when you're talking, not even communication skills, but just let's say, go back to who you are as a woman, right? Get away from the boy energy, get away from the work mode, get away from the computers, get away from all those things. When you strip all of that down, who you are as a woman, right, is divine feminine, meaning very nurturing, very warm. Bu fekkee kenn gaañut la, bu fekkee kenn déranger wu la, bu fekkee amuloo benn problème. What we are really is very warm as women. So what we're saying is, how can you ignite that constantly? Remind yourself of that all the time to make sure if you're in a relationship, the stuff that your husband used to do for you to please you. Lami Jata, you can help us. Okay, brother, I'm just going to say, I'm not going to say your name. I don't want to put you on blast. What you used to do, even now probably, everything you do is to please your family, your wife and your family, and to make them happy. But because you don't get rewarded enough, and when I say rewarded in feminine energy is compliment, being soft, being open, accepting him. These are rewards, right? So if a woman deprives you of all of that, she's no longer talking to you in a soft way. She's like a razor, right? Every idea you bring on the table, she rejects it because she knows it all, right? These are all contrary. These are all the opposite of feminine energy. These are all masculine energy. So after a while, you are no longer warm for your husband or your spouse to want to just hug you like this because you are rough on the edges. So you're not huggable. I'm just keeping it real. Mary, tell me if I'm making sense or not. Let me see who is on here. Where are the guys? You guys are quiet today. Sukai, Adam, you guys are quiet, and I don't like this. I like for you guys to engage. Tell me if I'm making sense or not, because if I'm not, look, the door is downstairs over there. I'm gonna go. Right? So this is the idea. How do we as women, how do we take the rough edges out? Let's take the rough edges out of us. This is not even what I want to talk about. It's what I want to talk about. I wrote it here. But for some reason, I'm speaking from my heart and my mind, and these are the things that are coming up. As African women, we are very rough on the edges. And you see, that's why a lot of athletes or a lot of African Americans or a lot of Africans don't usually do this. A lot of Africans still stick with their Africans because that's the culture, right? You don't, most of them, or even sometimes you meet African men that go and marry outside of their race, and they seem to be happier and more comfortable there. It's not because they're more beautiful or they're more special. It's because a lot of the times the people will think that white girls, right? Don't get me wrong, it's not all white girls, but most white girls they are softer on the edges. This is the truth. This is the truth. So I don't know if it's the way we were brought up, if it's the way we are built, but I feel like it has a lot to do with our culture, right? Because even if you look at the two races, maybe with white women, when they cry, like, you know, they tell you, oh, darling, what's wrong? Tell me, right? And then she will cry, she took my toy, or he took my toy, right? That's the white parent. So the white parent is teaching the white child to say how she feels, right? Us Africans, even my mama, she take the belt. You fight with your siblings or something happened or whatever, you cry and you go to your parent, African parent is this. Tell me if I'm lying, guys. Yo loy joy. Yo feel ko fi jar. You see that body language? Yo, that's crazy. The way we are as Africans is crazy, right? And God forbid you are from Nigeria or from Ghana, right? From the same thing applies. You know, they yell at you, be quiet, shut up, don't you cry. What are we doing? We are telling our child that it's not okay to say how you feel. It's not okay to be warm. It's not okay. And then if if you tell your child, shut up, don't cry, right? So you're teaching your child how to have a communication and how to have conversations with people. Kids don't do what you tell them. They do what they see, what you show them. This is the truth, right? So this child that has been treated differently, right, that is shown examples of rough communication. You ask your mom something, you're putting in the psyche of that kid that this is how she's going to go and function in society, and it's okay. And as that child gets older, when they show up in a relationship, guess what? That little girl, that's how she's going to show up in a relationship. The same way you were talking, that's how she's going to talk to the husband. Now, in the beginning, our conscious kick in. It's a new relationship. We're dating. Mumengoro. Yuneno guru. Right? So in the beginning stages, you're more like, hello, honey. Oh, soft. Right? The rough on the edges is gone because your instinct, your natural woman instinct tells you to turn it down, to show up in a very feminine way and show up very soft. So you do that. After 3 months, now you went inside, you're married, things start to change gradually. A year later, he gets on your damn nerves. 5 years later, even when he opened his mouth, it's like you're hearing something else from what he's saying. Because what happens? Your true self, this is not the conscious one anymore. This is not the one that had the common sense that, okay, I can't be too rough, I have to be sweet, da 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 da. That is gone. So now the true self, who you really are, comes out. And that's who shows up in the relationship. Any conversation is like sharp, 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 sharp. And that's horrible. That does not make a guy feel good. And if we reverse it, even if a guy talks to us like that, we don't like it. So it's the same thing really, but it's even worse. It's magnified with men. You know why? Because they're more actually sensitive. Because they've told them to suppress their feelings way more than they've told us. So everything that they're feeling for you, that they're not saying, most of it is horrible. Especially when they start to cheat or when they start to think about other things, right? This is the truth. And a lot of African men, they stick around, they take the bullet for the family. They take it for what it's worth. They stick around. But honestly, deep down inside, if you talk to them, deep down their true self, the truth, and they tell you about that relationship, how they feel, is usually not so good. It's definitely not as exciting as the beginning when they were like, man, do be kind, ki dam koy taka ki mom la ki affaire wax bi ki la. Right? Those feelings are long gone. Because it's not because they're tired of you. It's not because they've seen you every day, every day, every day. No, it's because your actions, you have changed the way you used to be so warm, so receiving, so open to this man. Now you are showing your true colors, which is roughness, right? You know it all, right? Everything they do, you never see the good in it. And I'm going to go back a little bit. Remember when I said, when you start to date a guy, everything lipulumi daw sa banex la as a woman. Now, let me pause. Is this true or not true? Where are the guys? Babakar. Is this true? When you first, Lamin, can you tell me, when you first start dating a woman, when you first get married, you might even be going to buy a bottle of water for her at the store or get a tub of ice cream. You excited. Men are like boys inside because their boyness was suppressed for so much too when they were kids. So they're excited. They're like, ooh. They're not saying it because they're not expressive. But inside, if I'm lying, tell me. Inside, you're like, ooh, like it's going to make her happy. All you want is to see the smile and the joy and the energy from the woman that they appreciate everything that you just did. But we don't do that anymore. Your husband goes to the grocery store. I've used this example before. He buys something. You don't even think he took his time. He could have sat down, watched football, watched soccer, whatever, go play golf, whatever. But he took his time to go do this, right? And if you're sitting down and wondering and saying, well, men do this too, men do that too, men do that too. Okay, that's your right. But we're talking about our part. How are we showing up? And it's like the chicken and the egg. Which one comes first? I'm not going to sit here, if I'm married or if I'm in a relationship and it's good, I'm not going to sit here and try to figure out if he should do it first or me. Swallow your pride, right? Men have more pride than us by nature, naturally. Swallow your pride, and let's start working on ourselves as women and show up better in our relationships. And the way we do it is we take responsibility and don't point. Let's do this. No, you too, you too, you too. That's masculine energy. That's men energy. Pointing the finger is masculine energy. Let's show up. Let's do our part. Don't worry about his part. When we show up, when we do our part as feminine energy, he's going to show up. And if he doesn't show up, he is not for you. At some point, he's going to have to bounce. Let me go back to because when I talk about feminine energy, I get so excited that sometimes I lose track, right? But if we go back to what we were talking about, complimenting what he does for you. Like I said, whatever the guy do when you guys are first together, everything, even giving you water or even taking you to the restaurant, whatever he does, simply he wants to see a smile. He wants to see a reward. He wants to see appreciation. He doesn't know that. He might not verbally say it, but in his heart, deep down, that's all it is. So in initial stages, you used to appreciate and compliment. Right? In the wall of dialogue. Meaning, oh my God, you're so sweet. You brought me all this. This is how we used to communicate with our relationship in the beginning. Is this true or not true? Let me see, hearts, if I'm lying. Is this true or not true? Everything your guy did when you used to be together you used to appreciate every single thing your guy did in the beginning stages. Everything. Is that true or not true? Let me make sure that I turn the light on. Somebody was calling me. Yeah. So after a while, we take them for granted, whether it's our subconscious, whether we acknowledge it or not. We take them for granted after a while because they're there. We are married to them now. They're our husband. So it's just like, okay. And this is a guy, when he first started dating you, you were so excited and you call all your girlfriends, oh my God, right? The day he sent the kola nut, if you're from Gambia, I don't know in Nigeria what they send, right? But if the day of the wedding, you're like the princess, like you're like Cinderella, right? Like so excited about the whole relationship. But we forget this. We forget that there was a moment like this where all we wanted was for that guy to actually go through with the marriage for us or with us because we loved him. 4 years down the line, when he comes in, Assalamu alaikum, or hello. Or if you don't have an attitude, you say hello, but you're in something else. Yang si telephone bi. Oh wow, mom, you know, we are on the phone like just talking, yapping with our friends, and then he comes home, he wants to kiss you or say hello, hey honey. And you say, hi honey, nyonga, oh tegal fufu bagasi. Wow, mom, di la def. Hey, why, jigéen ñi. You know, we are human. I'm not criticizing us. I'm just here to remind us, including myself, me, numero uno. I'm number one. Reminding ourselves, let's try to show up better in these relationships if we sincerely want to have happy, long-lasting relationships, marriages, right? When your husband come home, be present. And this is where that book is important. The book that says The Power of Now. Be present. When your husband comes home and say hello, for me, this is really important, I think, especially with the feminine energy. Whatever you were doing, pause it for a few minutes and be present with him. Connect. Because as I said before, the guy wants nothing but to connect with you from heart to heart. You know, like when you first started dating your girlfriend, there's that connection that you cannot explain as a guy, right? And even as a woman, you can't explain it. It's a feeling, right? For the guy, that never dies. It's there waiting to be reconnected with the spouse. But guess what? They've cut it and buried it a long time ago. After several years of the marriage, they've cut it and buried it a long time ago, because you know why? There's nothing there. You're not nurturing it. The only connections that they have with you is talking about the kids, talking about the bills, talking about the lawn in the yard, mowing the yard, whatever you call it. Those are the connections they have with you. That fire, that connection, and we all think it's going to be sex that brings that connection. Like I said the last time, yes, that could bring it, but that's not what they're yearning for. Your presence, you being present. When they come home, those are little, simple, practical things. Even if he comes home with an attitude, because he's tired from work or whatever, something went wrong, you as a woman have the receiving feminine energy. Receive him and see how his energy will start to shift. So anyway, ay darling, nyonga, you know, oh nyonga, seri nyonga, Harold, hold on. You put that person on the phone on hold. They're secondary. You take care of your house. You don't know if that woman is taking care of their house or not. But all you know is you're on the phone, you're yapping. At that moment, you're neglecting your house, right? But you don't know what that woman is doing. And let me tell you, I'm going to leave that one alone. Let me continue on this. I was going to say something about women, right? So you take care of your house. Because usually, I'm just going to say it, usually a lot of women will be like, they did man. No, me, my husband, da-da-da-da. Like, you know, they will pretend that they don't really try to do much for their husband, or they don't want the perfect relationship with their husband, or they don't want the perfect relationship, or like their husband has to do and run after them, all this. But you don't know how they are actually turning around and taking care of their marriages and their husbands. But they might pretend they are not. But inside, you dogo dogo. But they dogo dogo in the wrong way. The real way to dogo dogo under your husband is feminine. Is the true way is feminine energy, right? So you book the phone, Mama Gasama, Buma dina yafinyo aksare nala tojalde. You know, you put the phone down, you said, Amy, Mama, book Amy calling, and ko Amy me mahara rek nyuna. Nga tek telephone. Say nyunga. You have to be present. You reconnect. You reconnect. We forget that as women. So what happens is, like I said, a guy doesn't just wake up one day and change their mind to go want to get a second wife, or change their mind because they're no longer attracted to you, or they change their mind because they saw something else outside. We all have the same stuff, women. This is the truth. So if a guy leaves you, it's usually not because of beauty. They lost the connection between you two. Now, there are some men, they're just dogs. I'm not talking about those ones. Those, they're in the box. They don't come in the feminine energy party. They're outside. They're holy. They'll never come in. So we're not talking about those ones. We're talking about the worthy, valuable men. The men that are worth our time. The men that we value and we cherish. And we know deep down inside, this is a good guy. But unfortunately, the connection in the relationship is lost. So what do we do to ignite that connection? Because I want to feel, or what I want him to feel what he felt when we first got together, the first dates, right? Like right now, Mama. Right now, you're like, oh, Sadie, you oh my God. Oh. When he calls, hello. 1 year later, nganelan, wategal mo ko fofu rek mangi ñew. We switch. And then the guy change, and then we say, mom dem dafa change legi. Mom dafa soxor legi, ki num boné. Xana tay nga xam soxorayam, tay nga xam bonam. But when he was coming, in the initial stages, you were so happy that he's the one. You were so happy that he's the one. I don't want to sit here and talk alone. Anybody wants to come in, and then we will talk about another part of it towards the end, which is, this one is big. I think I'm going to bring it last. This one is very big because women in Africa, we think doing for guy is what keeps them. It's not. Do you guys want me to go into that box? Aisha, you and your masculine energy. Oh shit, I almost missed it. Yay, you and your masculine energy. Oh, I almost missed it. No, I'm kidding. Right? So, do you guys want, thank you Aisha, we missed you, yeah. Mary, do you guys want me to go into this box or leave it? The other box we were talking about, Aisha, what we were talking about? You see, when I talk, I don't even know what I just speak. What we were talking about, okay. What we were, lan lañ doon wax bopp bi dafa nekk dafa bari, you know. So in the initial stages, everything was like lovey-dovey. You're excited, you're happy. Yeah, that's what we're talking about. Yes, right? So you've lost that years down the line. It's gone. It's gone. It's not because the guy dafa soxor léegi kii de moom dafa change léegi kii de moom lele, you know, kii foog naa dafa am ku muy waxal, you know, in your mind you calculating, you thinking kii dafa am jànxa, blah blah blah. Maybe dafa am jànxa. I'm sorry. Maybe dafa am jànxa. It's not because the girl that he is seeing outside is prettier than you, or it's not because the girl he wants to mess up his relationship. Most men, the same way they say, oh, jigéen du sëy ba pare tas sëyam bi, jigéen bu tas sëyam bi dafa am lu tax, loolu dëgg la. Waaye góor tam bu toog, góor tam bu nekkee si sëy mu am fa njaboot, lu ko gënal mooy mu toog si sëy bi. Most women say, I'm going to translate for the people that don't speak English. Most women say, if a woman get a divorce from a husband, that means that there was no way out. They just had to do it because they were probably tired of it. Facts, that's true. But also, most men, if they have kids with you and they're in a relationship, what they would prefer is actually to stay in that relationship with that family. What happens though? Something breaks at some point. What breaks? The connection. It's not because you're not a good woman. It's not because you're not cooking, you're not cleaning, and we're going to talk about that in a second, right? It's not because, and sometimes you see, like our parents, or maybe our aunts, or people that we know, the woman, they do everything for the husband. They run, they clean, they cook, they all going everywhere. You know, they don't even go outside. They're very loyal. They sit home. Their family is everything to them. There are a lot of women like that. And guess what? The man still goes outside and cheat. The guy still go and maybe think about a second wife. And I'm going to tell you guys why. Not all men. Most men. Because we're not including the dogs in the box. The dogs are waiting in the doghouse. Right? My lips are getting down. Right? So we are saying most men. Right? So most men. So, like I said, we're not talking about the guys that are horrible. That's a no-no. We're talking about the guys that are good, that we value, and we know that they're good men, and we know they're good and we want to keep them. It is really important. Hold on. I just got a text message. I'm supposed to be somewhere later. Hold on. Okay. All right. Hold on. What was I talking about? We're going to go into this box. So after a while, okay, I got it. The connection is gone. You see a woman that does everything for the husband. They run, they clean, they cook, they work hard, they make a lot of money, blah, blah, blah. You know, they're good African women, or they're good women. They show up. But the guys still go and cheat, or the guys still go and think about second wife. Because what? The connection is gone. The connection. And remember the last time when we were talking, I said the connection is heart to heart. So, oh my God, that's Falanjai. Oh my God, I miss you. I haven't seen you in so long. Wow, welcome, brother. I'm so happy to see you. It's been so long. Okay, so it's not because that woman is not a good woman. It's because the connection is gone. And a lot of us women, especially African, we think the way you keep a guy and the connection to connect with a guy is to do and to clean and to cook and to tey li mako togal tey mom li la togg la 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 la, and they still go outside, cheat or marry someone else. And I'm talking about the good men. Not all men that cheat are horrible men. No. We can't malaraw. We can't categorize all men that go outside are horrible. No. There are some good men, they lose that connection. So what do you do to get that connection back? You have to try to connect with them in an emotional way. And how you connect with a guy in an emotional level, sex is included. We're adults here, you got it. But that's probably like a very small percentage of what we have to do. Everything else is based on the reward. Do you compliment them? Do you show them you appreciate them? Are you rough on the edges or are you smooth on the edges? Do you communicate properly? Na dang koy gëdd ndax sa wax dafa ñagas ndax dafa gàtt, you know, right? Those are ways that you connect with the guy, right? And that's why if you look at it, sometimes you see a guy, they have a beautiful wife at home or very powerful wife at home, and they go cheat with a bum. And you see the woman and you're like, she's dusty. Right? Not to be mean, I'm just saying, right? And you're like, well, kilan lagi siki. Oh my God, jabaram dafa rafet. Xam nga lu mu gis ci kooku moo ko jox jàmm. Kooku mooy connect ak moom. Because xam nga lan la, even su fekkee jànq boobu, even though if the woman cannot sustain that connection, which normally we don't as women, we don't sustain that connection, we let it go. Just like when you met your husband, the connection was there, everything was like, oh Siri, oh honey, blah blah blah, hello, all that was there, like we said. But at some point, that is gone out of the relationship. You lost your swag as a woman. You lost it. You lost your feminine energy. So your husband or your partner, when they start dating another, I'm talking about the good men, when they start to think about other women, it's because they want that connection again, but they're not finding it in you. And doing for them, cooking and cleaning is not what gives you that connection. You could cook until you break your hands, right? You could clean the house every day with bleach and put something that smells good, whatever. That is not the connection. You know what that is? Loyalty. The guy is going to be loyal to you. He might never want to disappoint you, so he will be loyal to you. But do you want a guy to stay with you because he's loyal to you, he doesn't want to disappoint you? Or do you want a guy to stay with you because he feels connected to you? He could be loyal. He could still love you. I'm not talking about does he love me. Yes, he probably still love you as a person. Is he in love with you though? Are you igniting that fire for him when he see you or when he get... Is it there? That's the question that we have to ask. Okay. What do you guys say about that? What do you guys think? Is this true or not true? Have you guys seen women that will break their necks for their husband? They will do everything. They would work so hard. They would cook, clean, do everything. And the husband still goes outside or doesn't even want to come home early enough, like I said the weekend before last. It's because that connection that he was feeling, how you melt his heart, is gone. So how do you bring those feelings again? The feelings, the way you bring it again is doing these practical steps from the feminine energy, what we talk about all the time on here. Adam, have you been doing the feminine energy? Tell me, how has it been for you? How is it working? When you do feminine energy, women, I swear to God, I'm not even lying, I'm not even kidding you, your life will change. And I'm going to open another box. It helps, Adam. I'm so glad. I'm so happy it helps you a lot. I'm so happy. So tell me, like, what are you doing that's helping, Adam? Tell me, what are you doing that's helping? I want to hear it. So everyone on here that's been following the Sister Show live chats, Sukai called last time. I've always done feminine energy. That's beautiful. Aww. That's good, Adam. I'm so happy you've always done feminine energy. Right? So if we go back to the conversation, you could comment below and tell us how you've been practicing your feminine energy and what is done for you, and what exact steps have you improved on for your feminine energy to change, right? If you're dating, or if you're married to someone right now, right, and you are doing a lot of things in the relationship, and you think that that's what's, and this is going to take us to the next topic, and you think that that's what's going to hold your relationship together, you're fooling yourself.